Alright, what's up guys? So in this video we're going to be tackling a 2019 CRF450L camshaft upgrade. I'm going to be tossing in a 2019 CRF450RX camshaft. I didn't opt for the San Diego Powerhouse camshaft, mainly because of cost. I live in Canada, so after shipping and duty and taxes, it was not worth it. And I was able to snag some OEM Honda parts, free shipping and next day shipping. So that worked in my favor. So I've heard this is not a direct swap. Some people have posted that it might be an issue with clearance, but I'll see. One guy ended up taking a mill off of one side in a lathe or something. So I'm going to see. I do have access to a lathe, so I'm going to try that. So I believe Honda did kind of cheap out on the horsepower for this bike. I'm not too sure why they decided to not put some more power. Maybe it was emission-wise and trying to keep it down for the road and meet their target goal of major overhaul. So I think they said 30,000 kilometers is how long the engine should last until you have to tear it apart and start changing some internal parts. This is geared differently than a 450R, and it does have a extra piston ring, so I believe that's still going to work in my favor for longevity. Yes, I'm going to be throwing some more power at it, so it's probably not going to last as long, and it's probably going to burn more fuel. But I've heard the San Diego Powerhouse kit, you mainly only feel the power difference in the higher RPM. After this camshaft is done and I put it back in the bike, I'm going to be bringing it down to a dyno, so subscribe, look forward to more videos. Alright, so here's the parts I grabbed from Honda. This is a 2019 CRF450RX camshaft. What I pretty much did was laid out the eBiz website and just compared the part numbers between 450L and 450RX. The part numbers were different for springs and intake rockers, and I forget what this thing's called. I did get a new head gasket because I'm going to be taking the head off to take out the springs. If you look at the San Diego Powerhouse kit, all the parts laid out and what it comes with, this is kind of what it comes with. So I'm imagining they're probably using this camshaft and modifying it somehow and then posting it on their website for a little bit higher value. That's what I'm imagining they're doing. Maybe they are making a new camshaft, but who knows. So yeah, let's get to work. By no means am I a professional at this. I have built a couple 2-strokes and 4-strokes in my day, usually from the older generations like 04, 05, 250R and 450R. So this is the newest engine I'm going to be tearing into. It shouldn't be too bad. I do have access to the service manual, so I'm going to be kind of relating to that to make sure I have everything good. I did watch one video where online, I'll try and post a link to it, but the guy did the San Diego Powerhouse camshaft, and he would take it for a ride and something would pop out or the camshaft would shift or something, and then the bike would die, and then they finally figured out what they were doing wrong or something. So I'm going to try and put it back exactly how I found it. I'm going to take a lot of pictures, and this video is going to help me. I can relate back to this video. So yeah, this is how she's kind of sitting right now. So exhaust rockers, valve springs. Here's the intake rockers that we got to switch out. Alright, let's get to work. So I just set top dead center. You line up this T with this mark here. lifted this off, these little keepers fell out. So just be careful with that. Alright, so these little keepers, they actually sit right there on the camshaft once the camshaft is completely in. Just a little note. It did pop out the cam chain adjuster, so I should be able to just remove the camshaft now. I'm gonna wrap some wire around this cam chain to make sure I don't drop it. Alright, let's check the difference of the cam lobe size. Let's do the center one here. It's 28 for the 450L. This is just rough. 29 for the 450RX. This is the intake rocker. And then 33.7 for the 450L exhaust. $36.9 for the 450RX exhaust. So big difference for the exhaust. Kind of dirty in the spark plug hole. Good time to clean it out. I don't know how important this is, but I just made a box to keep the parts separate. I do want to keep the little shims separate for when I do shim it, just to have a ballpark. I don't think it's too important to have the valve springs in the right location, but I'm going to put I want to put the valves back in the same location, so that's for sure. But I do have new valve springs. Shims in the box. The right one is labeled right. That one's labeled left. Okay, there is the piston. Here's the head. Thinking, should I do a piston and rings, or screw it. Next time. Just grab this cheap Amazon valve spring compressor tool. get these valves out.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Okay, the valves are officially out. Not in there is the valve seal, so if your bike is burning a lot of oil, there could be oil passing through these seals or past the piston ring, either or. Got the valves here on appropriate locations. I did get some dirt on them after tearing them down. Look at that. Maybe pulling the air box or whatever, or just fiddling with it. So the intake valves are a lot bigger. They say they're titanium, so don't lap them. But these ones, the exhaust can be lapped, so I'll show you that. Pretty much you put some compound on them and then you put them back in and you spin it and it cuts a new it just finds its happy home inside here. Makes a nice seal. The head, the exhaust port looks pretty nasty. The intake port looks nice and clean. I would love to port and polish this. Maybe gain an extra horsepower if I did that. The more air it can flow, if the chambers are wider and smoother, like this is a cast, right? The idea of port and polish is you make it a little bigger. Maybe there's some meat here you can take off, and then make it really smooth. I like to just smooth it out and not port it, just polish it. I have to look into how I could do that. I don't want to stretch this build on too long though. So I found the difference of what needs to be machined. So you can kind of see, hold on, let me get the light. So this is between here and here to line up these grooves for the little holders, I forget what they're called, is off 1 mil. So these bearings can sit together 1 mil less than these. So the distance between here and here, outside bearing, is 88 millimeters. On this one it's 87 millimeters. So I'm not able to seat this, like right now, this bearing cutaway race is inside that little pin, but on this side I can't get it in. So here's a little, it's like a locator for the camshaft pretty much, and this cut race on the bearing sits in it. So vice versa, if I put this side in, it's now off on this side. That looks more than it is just because I have it sitting weird, but pretty much I think the idea is I can either take off 1 mil on this surface to move this bearing that way, or I could take 1 mil off this side to move this bearing that way, and then it'll sit perfectly in there. I did have this sitting in here like this. And if I remove these little bearings, locators, and put the cap on, and the camshaft spins perfectly fine. Doesn't hit anything. Yeah, it feels great. I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. It's just trying to seat the camshaft into this. Also, this decompression thing that goes on the end of the camshaft, I bought one extra because I didn't know the camshaft came with it. The new camshaft comes with that, so you don't need to buy that. Alright, what's up guys? It's been a few days. I have the camshaft here. I had it machined. I had a friend put it on a lathe for me, and he was able to cut the 1 mil that I needed for it to sit in the top hat. So I'll show you guys where he machined it if you guys are doing this on your own. So pretty much I had to have the bearing sitting 1 mil more this way. So he machined off this, I guess you could say, stopper edge, 1 mil. So that original groove was there, and he took off 1 millimeter more this way. So after comparing the two camshafts, I have the stock one here in a bag, we determined that the camshaft had to sit more this way rather than that way in the hat. So I wasn't sure if I had to take 1 mil off this side where this bearing sits. This bearing. Yeah, get on there. That bearing, or this side. So after comparing the two, so where these will initiate the rockers and where this gear is sitting is going to be exactly the same as the OEM one. So pretty much it's the exact same now, just with way bigger cam lobes. So yeah, I'm gonna lap the valves. I have it laid out right here. I'll show you guys that, and then we'll put the head back on. We will torque it. Then we'll put the camshaft back in, and yeah. Alright, so this is the fine lapping compound. I just want to lap it a little bit. I'm just going to lap the exhaust side a little bit. Oh yeah, another thing I did was I kind of cleaned up the marks in here. I just used some sandpaper rolls that a local shop had, and just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. It does look scratched looking, but that's just the nature of that. It is smoother. If you feel it by hand, it is smoother, and it's going to flow a little bit more air, I'm assuming. I didn't port it. I just kind of got rid of the rough casting marks. This angle I heard was the most important because the air is flowing in and up. So focused right there and smoothed that all out properly, and I made sure I did not touch where the valve is seated. Alright, let's get to it. So I just lapped it a little bit. I think that's all you really need. You don't have to go crazy with it. Clean off the lapping compound. And what it's doing is just filing out the seat a little bit, using the actual piece that's going to be seating against it, so it makes the perfect seal. Grab the other one. say you can hear the difference. So I definitely heard the difference there, that it's starting to smoothen out and cut its nice seat, and that's how you know it's done. You don't need to do it a lot. Again, this bike only had 4,000 kilometers on it, so not a lot. So that's back in the original spot. This is the intake valve. I am not going to put anything on the intake valve. Alright, 4 valves. So I've discovered an issue. I don't know where the issue is. Maybe it's in Honda's actual part diagram, but pretty much this is the part number for the exhaust for a 450RX. When I put it in here, it is not seating over top of this piece here. So this is removable. They call it a spring seat. This. So pretty much this part number is the same for the 450L and the 450RX for the exhaust side, and this part number is different for the 450RX from the L, and it's supposed to fit over top of that and be perfectly flush. So that's one issue I found, and I'm not too sure why I have this issue because of the part numbers are exactly the same. So I made this little spreadsheet using the Honda eBiz website. So you can see, I'll post a picture of this, but exhaust lower spring seat, exact same part number between the 450L and the 450RX. Now the exhaust spring itself is different, and you can see I have the correct exhaust spring, 761 MKE 01, 761 MKE 01. So either Honda sent me the wrong parts, which I doubt it because both these are exactly the same. The intakes are good. So what I did was I ended up ordering the intake spring top seats for 450L because they're a little skinnier to fit this new spring. So I'm going to toss those in. Pretty much you just want the spring to be flush with the bottom and have that little edge so it can't go anywhere and like flex out. So it'll be good. I know it'll be good, but if you guys are doing this yourself, be aware of that. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I'm gonna try and fix it this way. I did order some of those spring seats. I ordered just extra just in case. They were like $3 each. So yeah, like I said, I'll post a picture of this and you guys can pause the video and line this up with the eBiz or I think like Rocky Mountain ATV or Partzilla also has blown apart parts you can see. So it's just something I found during this upgrade I wanted to share. I did have to remove the valve seal for that. Just putting it back. One other thing, for the exhaust side, you're also going to need a new top spring seat that does not fit flush. The one you need is the same part number as the one on the intake side, so that fits flush. That's because this spring is fatter, I think, with less of a radius in here. So pretty sure Honda has their parts wrong and that this in the 450RX is correct. if you're doing the San Diego Powerhouse kit, make sure you have this sitting flush in there and it's not like cockeyed, because I'm pretty sure the San Diego Powerhouse kit only comes with top spring seats and not lower spring seats. So you can see here on the 450RX, exhaust spring top seat 14771 MKE A00. Well, it just so happens to be the same as the 450L exhaust spring top seat, right? So it makes sense because they know that that's a skinnier skinnier spring, like fatter wall, that you need the skinnier ring around those spring seats. So I'm pretty sure Honda has their eBiz website wrong, and make sure if you're doing that San Diego Powerhouse kit, you're putting in that exhaust spring properly.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need. What you need. We're broken, it's tragic. We're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic. Believe you could have it. And I know of sadness, the anxious and panic, the infinite vastness of all that is blackness.
So just finished torquing the head. I'm just kind of following the service manual. I have it up here on TV. So it's calling for 37 foot-pounds of torque for the cylinder head. You just torque it in a crisscross pattern. Doesn't say which ones to torque first or whatever. But got the valves in, the valve seats, springs, circlips. I gave them a little extra tap with my hammer. That's just to confirm that the valve retainers are in properly, because sometimes the very first start will compress this and they'll pop out. So that's just confirming that they're actually in their spot. I did put the original retainers back on the same valves, so they already, I guess, found their happy place. I don't know if that really matters, but I did that. But yeah, this is currently how the bike is sitting. I'm kind of mixing these videos up based on the availability of parts that I'm getting and the time that I have to work on it. And of course, I want to make a dedicated video just for the camshaft, so I don't want to throw in all this extra stuff as well. So I put the engine in the frame on the lift like this because it's easier to torque down the head. If it was just sitting on the bench, I'd have to get someone to hold the engine while I torqued it.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness.
Alright, so the rocker for the intake and the exhaust are both in. I'm just following the manual. The letters left and right are facing the inside here, and the letters right and left are facing the outside, and you can see they line up perfectly with the center of the shims. So I'm just putting the shims in that were factory with the 450L. I'm not quite sure what a 450R is shimmed at the factory. I have nowhere to start from. I couldn't really find any information on that. So that left is 2.18. This exhaust is 2.15 millimeters. I'm doing millimeters. Intake left is 2.06. I measured these, and I have a kit as well. And intake right 2.13. The important step is to lube your camshaft. I'm just using this Permatex Ultra Slick engine assembly.
What I want, I'll keep dreaming on. Time staying strong, need to move on to be what I want, I'll keep dreaming.
Okay, I think we're good. We got these detent marks level. That's facing up. It's kind of tricky because everything's based off this chain. The chain cannot rotate, so you just are skipping a few teeth to rotate it each time. And then I think it got it dialed in now. And that's the correct position of the decompressor weight. So here on the screen, that's what we're looking for. And then also right there. Okay, the torque spec for that was 15 newton meters. Spec for the exhaust side is 0.28 millimeters plus or minus 0.03 millimeters or 0.011 inches. So I don't have 0.011 inches or 2.8 millimeters, but I have the in between 0.010 and 0.012. I'm going to do everything in millimeters because that's what I'm used to. So let's see if the 0.10 fits. 0.10 fits. 0.12 or 0.3. So this should not fit. That's correct. So I'm going to say this is good. Maybe I can go a little tighter. So that's, I think, what it's supposed to feel like. There's supposed to be a bit of drag and it's supposed to be tight. So that one doesn't need adjustment. Okay, so the next step of this is to take this apart and try some new shims. I have this brand new hot cam shim kit with every size I should need. I've kind of been making a chart here just to keep track. So spec 0.11 millimeters for intake, 0.28 for exhaust, intake left, right, stock shim sizes that are in the bike, and what I measured. So I will save you guys the painstaking task of watching me do this, and I'll come back when the valve cover is ready to go on. Alright, what's up guys? So I'm gonna end this video here. I got the camshaft in. It was pretty easy, straightforward. I just followed the service manual from Honda. I shimmed the valves, the hot cams. Shim kit came in handy. They had the shims I needed. I think it just took me like about 2 tries to get it bang on perfect to spec. So I think that's dialed in pretty good. Still kind of nervous that something's gonna happen, but I'm hoping it's not. You guys are gonna have to wait for the results because I'm gonna be bringing this thing down to the dyno. I barely even want to start it. I'm probably gonna start it and just put it around to make sure it'll idle and take a little bit of gas. But that air fuel ratio map that I have in there kind of scares me for the size of that camshaft I have. It'll probably lean out pretty easily and then hurt something worse, right? So I need to get a custom map in there. I'll be doing a dedicated video for the dyno, just so I can show the before and after and stuff like that. I do have a little clip of the before and a dyno graph, so I'll be sharing that. But the next video coming at you, it's gonna be fully assembled, hopefully. I did put the Supermoto wheels on quickly because this wheel, or this tire, sorry, is what you need to run the dyno. I don't think you can have a knobby on there. It's just better rolling, it doesn't bounce and stuff like that, right? So got that on there. I threw the front on. But yeah, all right, thanks guys. Catch you in the next one.